Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our ongoing live coverage here from day 7 of CMA Industry Week. We're spending the morning here spotlighting all the AAMP global brands with our friend Jeff Smith. Let's go ahead and bring Jeff on. And Jeff, this last and final session is going to be focused on a brand that has been around for a long time, arguably a heritage brand in car audio, and that is Phoenix Gold.
100%. Phoenix Gold has been around since late 80s, 89, 90 for most people. Man, this is a brand that I've known for years, man. And when I came to work for AAMP, man, I was super ecstatic. This was the main reason for coming to AAMP, was because of PG. I'm an audio guy at heart, man. So this brand, man, it means a lot to me. So we do a good job at what we do in PG and try to keep that heritage going.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's had to adjust and evolve with the times as the needs have changed. I'm excited to see where it's at in that evolution. But just before we even dig in, I got to say one word: son of Frank Ampenstein.
Yeah, man, those limited edition amplifiers, man, have been.
Do you remember that time of in that
100%?
Everyone was trying to
100%.
outdo each other with these crazy one-off, limited type amplifiers.
Yeah, oh, man, son of Frank Ampenstein, Route 66, Bandits, Outlaws, Octanes. Dude, there's so many classic PG amplifiers, man. The heritage is deep.
I also remember the first time I seen carbon fiber used. I think they had a sub called X-Max or something way back. Do you remember that?
Yep, the X-Max subwoofers. Very, very good subs, man.
Carbon fiber.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. You know what? Like always with the rest of our session, we're just going to have a video play to kind of set the mood, reset us, and then we'll dive into your presentation.
Cool.
More teasing of that Stinger goodness coming down the pipe, and we'd seen a little bit of collabo there on the Phoenix Gold and Stinger product, especially with that Jeep sub.
Yeah,
right?
and the full-size truck box as well. So
full-size truck box. Yeah,
lots of collaborations across the brand, man. That's one thing that we have the ability to do as AAMP, since we have so many different product brand categories. We try to take the best engineering capabilities from PAC into a brand, from Stinger into a brand, from PG and Echo Master, man, and just we have the ability to do lots of things that other manufacturers can't do because we're so wide range in products.
All right, the gold standard in sound.
Yes, sir. Phoenix Gold. So we're going to basically take over and have the ability to show what's currently being offered under the Phoenix Gold brand. Gentech is our distributor for Phoenix Gold in Canada, and any other countries around the world that are interested in PG, they can definitely reach out to AAMP directly here in the U.S. If they need any other inquiries or product information. So what we're going to cover today, Ben, are the 3 different series of products that are out there. The RX2 series, which is our beginner, or I don't want to say entry level because it's definitely not entry level. Our fitment series, which is the MX series, and then the larger series and higher power series is GX, and then some of our processors and accessories that are carried through Phoenix Gold. RX series is our budget-friendly series. I want to say that versus entry-level because the products definitely aren't an entry-level performance at all. In the RX series, there are components in 6.5-inch series. There is a wide variety of coaxials. The RX series is extremely loved by dealers because of the output capabilities, the sound quality for a OEM upgrade type coaxial component that can also be used with low amplifier power. These guys sell like hotcakes, Ben. They sound so good and have great mid-range, great high-end, and really good mid-bass for a price point driven series of drivers. The RX components are only 6.5. The coaxials are 4-inch, 5 1/4, 5x7, 6x9, very 6.5, of course. Very, very good, high quality, beginner price point driven series in the RX2s. RX2 subwoofers. Now these little guys here, 10-inch and 12-inch, can take a beating, put out some serious bass for the RX2 line. Power handling is 200 watts RMS, 400 watts peak. Both size subwoofers are available in dual 4-ohm or single 4-ohm, because we do this so that we offer a wide variety of impedances to match amplifier capability, whether you're doing a monoblock and you're doing a single subwoofer or 2 subwoofers, or if you're bridging the back half of a 4-channel amplifier to match up to a subwoofer. So that's one of the things we take into consideration in the impedance variations that we offer in our subwoofers. Lots of XMAX capability. They work in sealed enclosures, vented enclosures. We do lots of testing on our subwoofers and ensure that the box parameters we recommend are very accurate. The build materials, even on our price point driven subwoofers, is extremely high quality. The magnet array, the cone material, surround material, everything. The type of binding posts we use for speaker connections, 2-inch voice coils to handle real power and abuse, being able to have 12 gauge inputs on the push terminals. I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into designing very high quality, price driven RX2 line of subwoofers and coaxials. In the amplifier series from the RX2, they took on a new cosmetic platform in this last series. We took the 5-channel amplifier from the previous generation of the RX 600.5 up to the 750.5. So we increased the output on the 5th channel for subwoofers from 300 watts up to 400 watts now. These are going to be available in 5 models. You have your RX 750.5, your RX2 400.4 4-channel that can be bridged into 2-channel or 3-channel mode. And then we have our 3 monoblocks, Ben. Something as low powered as the 250.1 monoblock, 500.1, which is probably the most intricate of the series because of its size and compactability for 500 watt mono. That's true 1-ohm stable. And then we have the RX2 1001 1-ohm stable 1000 watt monoblock. So these amplifiers are extremely unique, and for the price point, power capability, and feature sets, RX2 is a hit with a lot of dealers. The power output in these different amplifiers, the 5-channel amplifier can be bridged down to 3-channel mode if needed, but you're talking 60 by 4 and then up to 400 watts on the 5th channel for the subwoofer. When you bridge into 3-channel mode, you're looking at 180 by 2. And then still 250 at 4 ohms or 400 watts at 2-ohm mono. The 4-channel is 60 by 4 at 4 ohms. Then you have the 3-channel capability, 60 by 2 and 200 by 1, or 200 by 2 when bridged into 2-channel. The monoblocks all are 4-ohm capable, 2-ohm capable, but the 250.1 is only 2-ohm max, 250 watts at 2-ohm mono. The 500.1 and the 1000 will go down to true 1-ohm, Ben. So these aren't going to be amplifiers that are going to overheat and go into protection at 1-ohm. The 500.1 and the 1000.1 are built standard PG standards for being able to take really low ohm loads and play these subwoofers at these impedances without any problems. These amplifiers have fully variable crossovers, 4-gauge power terminal inputs. They come with the sub-level controls, everything that you would need for standard installation capabilities in the RX2. A really neat cosmetic feature in the RX2, Ben, is that the badge can be rotated. So whether you're mounting an amplifier horizontally or vertically, you can actually take that badge and spin it to fit the application as well, which is really neat. Try to get my mouse back here. The next series, Ben, is going to be our MX series. MX is a series that has caught a lot of dealers' attention because of its form and fit factor, Ben. This is going to be a subcompact series of products and amplifiers and higher quality coaxials. Start there with the coaxials. The MX coaxials replace our older TI2 point source drivers. This is a series of drivers that come in three sizes. You have your 6.5-inch coax, your 5x7, and 6x9. This is a true point source, Ben. So the tweeter in this particular driver is coincidentally mounted into the voice coil of the mid bass. So by pulling that tweeter back into the voice coil of the mid bass driver, you're now going to have equal arrival time of the mid bass, mid bass, mid range, and high frequencies, making this driver sound way better than your standard coaxial from a low door standpoint, where you're going to have offset high frequencies and low frequencies. Having that coincidentally mounted tweeter pulled back into that voice coil is going to make the sound quality of this driver above and beyond what typical coaxials would be from an OEM location.
I mean, really, it's not a coaxial anymore.
Really, it's not. It's not. It's going to perform better than most of the component sets that are in these applications. A lot of technology built into these guys. You have an elevated basket with radio venting to help keep the voice coil cool in this application. You have a 1-inch silk dome tweeter for very smooth upper, mid-range, and high frequency. You have the Corona lens, which is not anything with coronavirus. We built this way before coronavirus was around. This Corona lens is a type of dispersion, a lens over the tweeter to help off-axis response. Okay, the shallow basket in this series of coaxials make it extremely friendly for installations into the stock locations. You have a polycarbon cone for very rugged design for mid-bass capabilities, very strong, and the dual concentric tweeter design, like we talked about, makes it a very high sound quality driver as well. Now, the benefits of a point source over a component bin. So typically with a component set, your tweeter and mid-range are so far away from each other, and that mid-bass handles about 75% of the sound from your component set, which is typically going to cause the output to drift down to the mid-range itself. When you have this point source, you're going to have a more even output of your low frequencies, your mid-range, and your high frequency at the same time, arriving to that driver seated position for better sound quality throughout the entire range. Now, the MX amplifiers, this is where this line really takes off, because this subcompact series of amplifiers comes in 3 models, and all 3 models, Ben, are the exact same size. You have your MX 600.4 multi-channel amplifier, you have the MX 800.1 monoblock, and you have your MX 800.5 system amplifier. So let's talk about how small these amplifiers are, Ben. This series of amplifiers changed the game because you said yourself, you're an old PG guy, you remember how big these amplifiers used to be. Well, modern vehicles and modern needs have required us to design a series of amplifiers to be subcompact, Ben. Let me show you how small these amps are. 10 inches
10
long,
inches.
6 inches deep, and 2 inches tall. So, Ben, you can mount 1 or 2 of these under a seat in a vehicle, right? These amplifiers fit in so many different applications. That's what makes them so popular with dealers. The fact that you have some really unique features in these amplifiers, we're going to look at the signal and tuning side of these amplifiers. All of them have RCA inputs. The sub-amplifier, the monoblock, has RCA in and out for pass-through, 4-channel input, and you can use 2-channel or 4 channels of input. And then, of course, the 5-channel can take 4 channels of input or 6 channels of input. They will take balanced and unbalanced input. Unbalanced being a typical RCA input bin, anywhere from 0.2 volts of input or 200 millivolts all the way up to 5 volts of input. You also can use, remember the X12 line we talked about back in the Stinger series, Stinger X? You can take your high-level input directly into the RCA input of all of the MX amplifiers, making it easily adaptable to OEM systems as well. They will take anywhere from 500 millivolts of input up to 10 volts directly through the RCAs through this high-level adapter with the X12 line. These guys also have an input selection switch, whether you're going to take 2 channels of input or 4 channels of input. And there's a dedicated switch to tell whether you're going in low-level input or high-level input. So you can adjust the amplifier's input selection for the gain adjustment. You also have variable crossovers, high pass and low pass. The subwoofer amplifier also has a dedicated bass boost. along with frequency adjustment, but they all come with a dedicated sub-level remote in the box as well, Ben. So you can use a sub-level control on the monoblock. You can use it in the 4-channel because you can use the back half of channels 3 and 4, bridge it to a subwoofer. We include the sub-level there. And then, of course, your system amplifier, the 5-channel, comes with a dedicated sub output. So we want to make sure that everything you need comes in the box, Ben. You have a flush mountable sub-level control without an under dash box. You can mount this thing anywhere, and a 20-foot cable to go back to your amplifier, whether it be under a seat, in the back of a vehicle, behind a seat, all included in the box. Power connections, Ben. All of these are going to feature 10-gauge speaker inputs. They're going to have 4-gauge power inputs. So these amplifiers will take very serious amounts of input to create the power. 600-watt 4-channel, 800-watt monoblock, and an 800-watt 5-channel dedicated. We had to put good power inputs here. The chassis on these amplifiers are full metal chassis. The output devices are placed around the entire chassis to create a very unique cooling feature, Ben. We call it BFD, balance flow dissipation, so that you don't have one area of the amplifier that's hotter than another part of the amplifier. So this entire chassis is used as a heat sink in order to dissipate this heat. Ben, 10 by 6 by 2, very tiny amplifier, but it has to be able to dissipate heat. What this chart here is showing you is that after full range play, right? You're talking, we've monitored this amplifier over 10 hours of full range play at full tilt. This amplifier never reached more than 98 degrees because of the way the heat sink works. So it's completely balanced heat dissipation around the entire amplifier in order to make sure these things stay cool no matter where you put them. So it's a very unique efficiency way that the heatsink on the MX series was designed. And the MX subwoofers. If the amplifiers were small and compact, the subwoofers had to be very small and compact and shallow as well. Just like the RX series, Ben, these subwoofers are available in dual voice coil configurations, dual 4-ohm or dual 2-ohm. 10-inch and 12-inch. These subwoofers are built, Ben, to go into places where typical subwoofers can't. They're extremely shallow. They are built with the same premise as a normal subwoofer. Long throw excursion, 2-inch voice coils. Power handling goes up from the RX series, 300 watts RMS, 600 watts peak. The MX subwoofers, Ben, are designed to work in sealed enclosures primarily, because in these very small applications, you typically aren't going to have enough room to port a MX subwoofer properly. So these are really designed for small sealed applications.
Yeah, I'm thinking like downward facing thin boxes.
Right. Truck boxes, underseat boxes, things like that. There's also a series of grills that are available, Ben. The G110 and G112 subwoofer grills. These actually work in all of our current subwoofers. RX series, MX series, and the GX, which we'll get into. These
are those, is that the old logo I see on those grills?
That is the old logo, but the logo has been updated. This photo, okay. This photo is just of the of what was available back then when I created this slide. But the logo has been updated to the new logo. Like I said, 14-gauge powder-coated steel grills. And what's really unique is that when you buy this grill, you just take off the rubber gasket for the subwoofer and put the new one on that comes with the new grill, and the metal mesh just slips into the ring that's built for the grill. So there's no real work of putting the grill on it. It's built specifically for these high excursion subwoofers. And I'm moving my mouse.
I don't know how you see that. It's so tiny.
All right. So let's talk about these applications.
Oh, that's it right there. Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of dealers are, they're using prefabs. Sometimes they build their own enclosures. But when you're choosing a prefab, you want to make sure you find one with the proper airspace. Okay. So in the manual, we give you a range of airspaces. And we want to make sure that the same manufacturer, this is from A-Trends, they create their B-Box subwoofer enclosures, whether it be downfiring or a standard truck enclosure. Every box with a 10-inch hole or 12-inch hole is not the same. So the same manufacturer makes two different enclosures. The enclosure on the left, the 12 AME, this is the proper airspace for our 12-inch shallow subwoofer, where the 12 SME is not the proper airspace for this subwoofer. So you just always want to make sure that you read the manual and make sure that the prefab enclosure you're supplying for your customer or subwoofer fits the actual recommended airspace, and it's not just throwing any 12-inch hole with a 12-inch subwoofer. The first enclosure bin is 0.7 cubic feet. It falls within the recommendations of what we want for that 12-inch subwoofer, right around 3/4 cubic foot. But the second subwoofer enclosure bin is 0.4 cubic feet. That's not enough airspace for that shallow mount subwoofer to spring and create the bass response that your customer wants.
What's the minimum on that, on the 12?
Minimum on the 12 is 1/2 cubic foot.
Half, okay.
1/2 cubic foot, right? 1/2 cubic foot up to 1 cubic foot. So you want to think about this, Ben. The reason why we really talk about proper airspace is because with not enough airspace, it reduces the speaker's ability for that voice coil and spider to work as a spring and create the bass that we're looking for. When you reduce the amount of airspace, Ben, it reduces power handling as well, which means cooked woofers, burn voice coils, because you're trying to force that subwoofer to create the bass you're looking for when you've choked out the spring, the voice coil, from moving with not enough airspace. That's why you have to be cognizant of what airspace you're adding for these subwoofers. So inside all the manuals, we've actually gone a step above and beyond what our previous manual. We've updated the manuals with cut sheets, recommended box dimensions, to make sure our dealers really understand the amount of airspace we want these subwoofers to be applied to, so that they get the bass output that we designed these subwoofers to work within. Okay. MX subwoofers, Ben, can be mounted into many different applications. This is one of our show Jeeps that we built for SEMA 2 years ago. This is the MX 600.4 4-channel and the 800.1 and 2 MX 10-inch subwoofers in the back of a Jeep JL. Very shallow enclosure, very good custom work here done by one of our local dealers, OTS, here in Florida. This is a package that lots of dealers love to see and hear. Very shallow capabilities with this application. You're talking about a 1 cubic foot enclosure for 2 10-inch subwoofers at 800 watts. This thing pounded and sounded great. Even in this application, this was done by our distributor in Australia. This is 4 12-inch subwoofers, our MX subwoofers, along with the last limited edition amplifier we did in the PG series, Zen 9. This is in a Lexus sedan with 4 of these 12-inch subwoofers in the spare tire well of this Lexus. So the ability to put these subs in very small airspace bin is what the MX series is all about.
Very cool.
So let's talk about the last series, which is GX. GX is the newest series that we just released this year. GX is going to be still a compact series of amplifiers compared to previous years with our Phoenix Gold line. So remember, Ben, it's application driven. RX2 is price point driven. MX is subcompact, space driven, very limited space, where GX is still space conscientious, but a little bit bigger platform and more power output as well. Same thing, the GX trio of amplifiers, very similar to the MX as far as the power capabilities. So you're talking the GX 4-channel multi-channel amplifier, 800 watts, 1200 watt mono, and the 1200 watt 6-channel. So remember, RX and MX both have a 5-channel. Now in GX, we have a 6-channel, and we'll go over that. So how big are these guys? Ben, how big were the MXs? 10 inches by 6 by 2. GX 11.5 by 6.5, and the 800.4 and the 1200.1. So not much bigger, but definitely more power output, right? Then you get into the 1200.1. The 1200.1 is a little bit, 1200.6 is a little bit bigger. 13.5, which is still small enough to fit under a seat and behind the seat. 13.5 inches by 6.5 by 2. So still very compact amplifier chassis. Now, some of the unique features with the GX series is we decided to take this into a different standpoint now, Ben. These are single-ended amplifiers, which means now All of the power connections, speaker connections, RCAs, everything are on one side of the amplifier to make a very clean installation in different vehicle applications. We've also now included our new proprietary PG quick disconnects. So installing amplifiers, wiring up amplifiers is made a lot easier and simpler with these proprietary PG quick disconnects. 4-gauge power and ground remote and your speaker connections can simply be unplugged and plugged in whenever you're doing this installation with the GX series. The GX series also has the same high-level, low-level switch capability when using the X12 line for high-level input. And then, of course, you have your multi-input adjustment switch as well. You have the ability to switch between 2-channel input, 4-channel input, 6-channel input, depending on the amplifier model as well. The switch is extremely important, Ben, when going high level or low level input. You have to tell the amplifier which orientation of input signal you're using so that it knows exactly how to look for that signal input. All these amplifiers are full range Class D amplifiers, Ben, very high quality Class D circuitry with loopback feedback loop systems in order to monitor the output of the Class D circuitry in order to make sure the amplifier is putting out a very clean signal. These surface mount technology in these amplifiers keeps the heat sink just like the MX was. So your BFD, balance flow dissipation, the entire chassis of the amplifier encompasses the heat sink in order to keep the amplifier really cool. Like we talked about, single-sided control panel, your inputs for speaker power, gain control, crossover adjustment, everything on a single side of the amplifier itself. And of course, your GX series of subwoofers. The GX subwoofers, like we mentioned before, just like the MXs, come in dual 2-ohm and dual 4-ohm. The GX subwoofers will work in vented enclosures and in sealed enclosures. 400 watts RMS, 800 watts peak, and this particular series of GX subwoofers. So the GX subwoofer is a graduation from our previous SX series. So SX was extremely popular. These subwoofers punched well above their weight limit as far as what dealers were able to get the bass reproduction and power handling of these subwoofers. The dual cone construction of a GX subwoofer. So the front cone that you see, Ben, is actually just a dust cone, right? For the reverse cone, that's a rugged paper cone, very high rigidity cone to be able to be extremely fast, very lightweight cone design. Then you have the double loop tensile leads that will take a lot of abuse from the spider moving up and down. So that double looped and sleeve tensile lead is built for the high excursion capability of the GX subwoofers. Of course, the same very high quality push terminals for speaker connections. Then you have the linear spider that allows a very smooth movement of the driver up and down. You have the new collar technology, the MLB collar technology, the way the voice coil mounts to the platform and the way the surround is mounted to the basket of the driver itself as well. The basket of this driver is a lot more robust than the previous version as well. You can see the way through this cutout, the way we actually do the radio venting below the spider to keep the magnet assembly completely cool during very high excursion and high power designs when putting a lot of power into the GX subwoofers. A lot of guys look at it and go, wait a minute, you guys make a 1200 watt monoblock amplifier, but only a subwoofer that'll take 400 watts RMS, 800 watts peak. The GX 1200.1 is meant to be paired with a pair of subwoofers, okay? To pair 210s or to pair 212s. With the voice coil configuration, you can even do 310s or 312s on this same subwoofer configuration. This is why we give these variation of voice coils, Ben, so that many different applications can be used. You can even bridge the back half of the 4-channel to be 400 watts on a single subwoofer, and bridge the 6-channel down from 6-channel capability into a 5-channel capability if that's what you need. So that was one of the thought processes behind the 6-channel, is that a lot of vehicles have a midler and a dash, a front door mid bass, and then rear speaker. Then you pair that with your subwoofer amplifier, and now you have a 7-channel system to run an entire vehicle, the way lots of modern vehicles have been set up and paired. So that is the GX series of subwoofers, along with the new technical information for GX that is included on our website and in the manuals. So the product manager here, Mark, he decided to go a little bit further than what we've done in previous scenarios of our manuals, and actually give dedicated box cut sheets, very unique information for slot ports, for round ports, whatever the dealer is more comfortable with building, and to give a dealer more direct technical information on how to build these enclosures. All of this is on the PG website and is also included in every manual for each one of the PG subwoofers as well. So let's talk about our loaded enclosures that are available, Ben. For very small applications as well, prefab enclosure, we have the Base Case 8. The Base Case 8 is a single 8-inch 4-ohm driver that is vented. This has been a very popular enclosure over the years. Very good output, very small footprint, and a single 4-ohm driver that can take 200 watts RMS and 400 watts peak. For a little small behind the seat enclosure or under seat enclosure bin, this little 8-inch guy has been very, very popular with lots of dealers.
I wish you had dimensions there, because I have a feeling that's pretty small.
Yeah, I don't have the dimensions, but it's very, very tiny. It's very similar to some of the other manufacturers behind the seat boxes, but the way we tune this enclosure, I don't want to call it a transmission line, but it's a very high output, very long tuned low port that makes the bass output. You would never believe that this is a single 8-inch driver when you hear it in most of the applications. And then, of course, we have our active amplified solution. So you have the Z8150 incorporates a amplifier and an 8-inch subwoofer all into one. And this is a metal chassis platform, Ben. So this guy is meant to be mounted solidly and bolted down to the floor of your vehicle. If you do not mount this unit down, it's not going to sound proper, because this unit works off of it being braced to the chassis of your vehicle. So you get that tactical impact, that vibration of this enclosure along with the subwoofer makes this very small active subwoofer sound way bigger than what it is. It comes with the subwoofer level control in the box. It has adjustable phase, bass boost, of course, crossover adjustment as well. The ZD150 is those quick installs when you need to do amplifier subwoofer all in one. Lots of small cars, trucks, and vehicles. You can mount this under a seat, behind a seat, and this is a sure winner for lots of dealers in that application as well. And some of the processors that we offer currently, Ben, we offer the EQ9. That's a 9-band in-dash EQ with subwoofer level control and fader. Crossover for your subwoofer output, has a line driver in it as well for your amplifiers. And then, of course, the classic bass cube. If you're an old school PG guy, you remember the bass cube, which is the bass processor. So the bass cube was brought back. This is bass cube 2. Still works in similar scenarios as being able to take those higher bass notes and redirect them to lower octave bass notes, and be able to adjust and dial this thing in order to make your subwoofer system perform like a larger subwoofer system in your vehicle. So EQ9 and bass cube are available as well.
You know, a lot of guys still run those little half-din EQs.
Yeah, man. Half-din EQs are really popular in power sports and boating applications as well. So yeah, very, very popular. I was really surprised at the amount of sales that we had with the EQ9.
And what's the voltage output on that as a preamp?
This one will go up to, if I remember correctly, it's 8 volts out.
Wow. Yeah,
on the line driver on the EQ9. 9-band parametric, like I said, crossover adjustability for the subwoofer output. I believe there's a switch on top to flip between 60 hertz and 90 hertz. Fader, front to rear, so you can go in with 2 channels and have front and rear out. Dedicated sub output. Fader adjustability, and your 9-band EQ.
Very cool.
Yep. And that's what the current PG offering is, Ben.
I want to remind everybody that for Phoenix Gold, if you're in Canada as a dealer, you're looking at this as an interesting opportunity. Make sure you get a hold of Gentech. Our digits are below here, as they are the exclusive distributor for Phoenix Gold product in Canada.
Yeah.
All right. Brand Central, of course, no less.
Brand Central, of course, Ben, no matter what brand it is under the AMP umbrella, PAC, Stinger, EchoMaster, PG, the new 2021 catalogs are available for download now. Any of the logos dealers want to use for social media content, for their website content, anytime there's a new product release, if dealers haven't been able to see that information chronologically, it's listed on the Brand Central site. When you go into products by any of the brands, you can go into a specific brand and see exactly what those products are. POP information for social media content, for web content, all of that is available on Brand Central.
Cool.
And of course, like before, you have YouTube. Our AMP University channel on YouTube has every brand under the sun: PG videos, Stinger videos, PAC videos, EchoMaster videos, product releases, unboxings. Everything you can imagine is available for dealers and for consumer education on our AMP University YouTube channel. So subscribe and like there. And of course, tech support, always available on the AMP tech support group on Facebook, or you can reach out to Gentech Automobility for tech support with our products. But the AMP tech support page on Facebook is extremely important. 365, 24/7 tech support available to our dealers.
Just to recap Phoenix Gold a little bit, I do like the way that it's been segmented into three easy to understand, easy to sell type of product lines for a customer. And running off the Phoenix Gold heritage of all things, I think there's a lot of value there to the brand. But I think I want to pay special attention to the middle lineup. Was the one that is space conscious?
MX series.
MX series for sure. It's been a big topic of conversation. You showed a picture back there where there was this giant Phoenix Gold amplifier powering 4 subwoofers, and you know what? You and I probably appreciate that.
Right. But
the problem
today's
is
cars,
my better half would not appreciate that.
Exactly. Cars have gotten smaller. Yeah, cars have gotten smaller, man. And I mean, that was one reason to create this subcompact line of amplifiers, because we have to be able to fit amplifiers into many different, spaces and locations. I mean, not everybody has a huge trunk that they want to give up for just an amplifier. And like you said, wife, girlfriend, whoever, whether it be work stuff, other things you need to fill up in the back of your vehicle. This is why these need for subcompact amplifiers. And that's the evolution of Phoenix Gold, Ben. I mean, of course, we all know the history, big, crazy amplifiers, these limited editions and all these crazy things, but the industry has evolved and changed over the years. So the brand has evolved and changed. So that's why the mindset, when people go, oh, where are your limited edition amplifiers? Where's this? Where's that? The industry now, the marketplace demanded that our lineup change a bit. So this is why people go, well, we don't see this anymore. We don't see that. Space conscientious, power conscientious, but we made sure that the thought process behind the brand is budget conscientious customer with RX2, space conscientious with the MX series, small footprint amplifiers, small space requiring slimline subwoofers, and then for those guys who want the highest performance that we currently offer, still in the compact line of products, you have the GX series. So kind of a full reset to involve and get more into the marketplace and where the meat of the business is happening now, Ben, to get the brand back into the thought process of not just being this exclusive high-end boutique niche brand. So now it's more of the meat and potatoes of where the audio business falls in day-to-day business for our dealers.
To round out this conversation, Jeff, this all morning you've been talking about integrating all the brands and technology and engineering under the AMP Global umbrella. Can we expect to see maybe a little bit more DSP sneak into the Phoenix Gold line?
We've gone down the DSP. We've gone down the DSP line before, but I think that as sales continue, as the demand increases, you may see a return. It may not always be in the PG brand, since we expand out into other, ventures as well. So you could see it in across multiple brands, but as long as the market continues to go the way it is and business goes the way it is, there could be a potential for that to come back into play.
I mean, it's screaming that based on all the technology and brands that you have.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Last message I'm going to leave you off with. What can dealers expect from AMP for the rest of 2021?
For the rest of 2021, you're going to see us focus on, like we talked about before, vehicle-specific engineered solutions. The amount of engineering we put into integration devices from PAC, the amount of engineering we put into our consumer and commercial engineering for safety products, our ADAS products from EchoMaster, the different channels of business that are growing from a marine platform, from a power sports platform, from we even have Harley we didn't even go into our Harley products because we have such a limited time here, but we have Harley products under the Stinger brand. We have so many SKUs, Ben, so many avenues for a dealer to do business with us. Literally, just think about it. Everything that we covered in this 4 sessions this morning, the only thing you didn't see from us is security. Like that's the only.
You don't do car starters.
Yeah, we don't do car starters. We do head units. We do infotainment. We do speakers for automotive, for marine, for power sports. We do wiring for vehicles. We do accessories for vehicles. We do marine and power sports lighting. We didn't even get a chance to get into that because, dude, we have over 6,000 SKUs under the AMP umbrella. And 4 hours is, dude, I had to really calm it down a bit to get everything into our 4 hours here. But when doing business with AMP, Ben, just think about it like this. I hate to use this term, but I have to. You're walking into Car Audio Walmart, right? You're walking into, you can get amplifiers and subwoofers for your car, amplifiers and subwoofers for your boat, power sports. You can get integration. You can get safety products. You can get parking sensors, backup cameras, blind spot monitoring systems. It's an entire family of products. We try to be the best solution for a dealer to partner with. You can get almost everything you need for your store. Dash kits, wiring harnesses, data bus controlled integration devices, full vehicle solutions with the combination of our Stinger PAC integration, full vehicle safety integration between PAC and EchoMaster, Stinger PG integration. You know, there's so many different cross branding and cross engineering capabilities under the AMP umbrella that 4 hours just isn't enough. You know?
But the good news is we do have you coming back to a couple of connecteds that you and I get to kind of dial in a couple of specific products, and maybe we can touch on the Harley and the lighting stuff on that platform.
Definitely so, man. This has been great, man. You guys have done a great job this week. Kudos to all the other distributors and manufacturers. Hopefully the Canadian market and all of the markets around the world have really tuned in and taken a dive into all this new information. Being stuck in COVID for most of the world the past year and a half, lots have happened and lots of new products from all the manufacturers. And we appreciate you guys, Ben, at CMA for giving us this platform to educate our dealers and consumers all around the world.
Well, we appreciate having you, sir. You're always a delight. I look forward to our future sessions.
Appreciate it, man.
Once again, if you're looking for AMP products, whether it's PAC, Stinger, or what am I missing?
EchoMaster and PG.
That's Gentech and or Automobility.
Yep.
And if you're specifically looking for Phoenix Gold, like on this session, then you want to make sure you hook up with Gentech as a exclusive Canadian distributor. Jeff, it's been a complete blast. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to our next training session together.
All right, man. Have a great day, Ben.
You too. Take care. There you have it, guys. That's a wrap from the spotlight that we've done all morning with AMP Global and other great brands. Lots more training coming up as we get into the world of automobility and so on. Don't you dare go away. We got so much more programming, so much more learning to do. Thanks for tuning in to this live coverage of Day 7 of CMA Industry Week. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.